XPPTX extension in an email from a person that you know. Okay. What I'll do here is I'm going to put this in double quotes. Because when you look at that email, okay, from your mailbox, it would mention the name of someone that you actually know, okay? Maybe someone that you have communicated often with. It can be someone from way back when. It depends, okay? And inside there will be a presentation file like a PPT or PPTX extension. And then the subject or the body of the email will say, this is a really funny presentation, or it's very informative, or it is something that you should really watch because I think it will change your life, or something like that. Something to hook you and say, oh, I really want to watch this. Okay, maybe this is something that is actually good for me. Okay, so when you click open the PPT or PPTX file or the attachment, then you let loose of, guess what? The soldiers, the ninjas inside the wooden horse, okay? Because the wooden horse is brought in by email, okay? Now, but the wooden horse cannot do anything, when it's just sitting in your inbox, okay?
So
it has to be. Your email is a delivery. Yep, it's the wooden horse,
yeah.
Okay? And to double click the attachment is opening the gate to say, yes, come on in, okay? In other words, when you receive the email, the horse is outside the gate. It is just parking outside of the gate, trying to trick you to open up the gate and bring it in. If you look at that message and go, I'm not going to open anything, and click delete, guess what? That's equivalent to sending a fire bomb and just burn that horse outside of the gate. So you're okay in that case. But if anyone is double clicking the attachment, it's equivalent to opening the gate, let the horse in, and let all the ninjas in the horse, to do their things inside your computer, which is not good. Okay.
So if you send it to, you delete it, you're fine. But what if you put it in a spam file or?
As long as you don't double click the attachment or activate the attachment, you will still be okay.
Oh.
Yep.
Even though you by mistake do that, can you see the effect in that moment? Shut it down, the whole system, and avoid some damage. It's too late.
If you double click it, it depends on whether you have an antivirus software installed on your system and how good it is to protect you. In other words, once you let loose of the ninjas inside the horse, you still have your night patrol in the city. So if you have really good night patrol in the city, they can still suppress the ninjas and stop the invasion. Yep.
This is a fun conversation.
When
I like it, yes.
In the email, and we saw some email coming from a friend that he did not send me the email, but I would just go into the email and say, okay, it's my friend's. I would just click on it and just view the email. So do you think still I'll be affected with that, or I won't download anything or nothing like that?
Most of the time, no, but you have to be careful because when you read an email and it has images attached to it,
Right.
now when you open the email, I will answer that question, okay? So when you open the email and it displays the image, that image, by just displaying an attached image in an email, is confirming your IP address. Now, that's just a confirmation of your IP address, which may or may not be very harmful, but it does confirm and say that, okay, I sent this email earlier to this address, and now have confirmation that it is live. Somebody on that end actually opens this email. So it can confirm at least that much from the perspective of the hacker. And then there are, cases where you can have a single image that can infect a system. Okay, this was something that happened with Windows, of Microsoft Windows. They had a security problem where someone can hide, malicious code, basically soldiers and ninjas, inside nothing more than a JPEG file. The JPEG file looks completely normal too. You can look at it and go like, oh, it's a flower, okay, or it's a tree. It's nothing, really nothing that will stand out. but it can carry a payload that can actually infect your system. So you have to be careful. A lot of email systems like Gmail is already configured so it doesn't automatically open up any images that is attached inside the message. So I would advise not to open or not to view the image until you have established that this is actually legit. Okay, you had a question a little bit earlier, and then I'll answer these two. Yep.
I'm wondering how they would know my address.
Because they infect your friends' systems first. So in other words, it's not a problem, for people who have no friends, no colleagues, and no affiliation of any kind, no enemies. Because if someone has an enemy, they might have email exchanges, too. Like, I think you're stupid, but you're stupider, Well, once you have someone on your address book, that someone can potentially be infected because of the same reason. Yep, go ahead.
I'm not saying a Trojan does this, but some viruses rely on people doing a system reset instead of shutting down completely, because the virus will remain in RAM.
The virus, okay, when
Somewhat remain, but if you do a hard boot,
it
send
depends.
you a little more.
Right. Okay, so now let's go back to the topic of a virus. We know what a worm is. It is active. It is a program that's running on a computer trying to seek out and destroy other computers. Okay? Well, not destroy, but to infect other computers. A virus is a little bit different. A virus is not active, okay? Not active most of the time, okay? It has to be activated by a user action. Okay? In other words, double-clicking on a file, saying, yes, I want to download this, that sort of thing. It has to be activated by a user. A worm does not need any user interaction at all to infect another computer. Now, here's another interesting fact. Okay? What happens when you buy an old computer with Windows XP stock, Windows XP installed, and then you decide to plug it onto the internet with no firewall protection? Okay, so in other words, you're not even signed in yet. You have not done anything to the computer. You're not logged in. You're not using a browser. You're not checking email. You're doing nothing except to hook it up to the Ethernet cable, and the Ethernet cable connects to the cable modem, the DSL modem or the cable modem, and it goes off to Comcast or whatever DSL you subscribe to. What happens to that computer? It has no firewall protection for one thing, right? So now all the active attack attempts from worms can reach the computer. And because it's a stock installation, it doesn't have all the security patches yet. I think the average is 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes of plugging that computer onto the network, it will get infected with no user interaction required on your part. All you have to do is to plug it in, wait 3 minutes, and it will be infected.
So you're saying, like, if I'm really slowing on updating the patches or whatever,
you won't have enough time to update.
Yeah.
Yep. So the only defense against that is to put it behind the firewall first. Now, if you put it behind the firewall, then the worms cannot touch you. As long as you don't read your email or do anything actively except to update the operating system, then you will still be okay. Okay, go ahead.
So what about the portable devices? If you check the email on the portable devices and reactivate them, would I still?
Potentially, yes. Because your portable device, as I have mentioned in the class, is nothing more than a computer pretending to be something else. So it has all the same problems as a regular computer, potentially. Yep, go ahead.
It's 2 questions. Question number 1, it sounds like firewall is a one-way street. You
Yes.
can't allow things to go in. You said the Trojan sends an IP address back to the program.
No. A Trojan is simply a delivery mechanism. What the ninjas decide to do is a whole different story. Okay? Remember, the Trojan is just the Trojan horse, so it's really just a vehicle, a trick to so that someone will open the gate and invite the Trojan horse in. Now, once the ninjas go inside, they can do one of many different things. They can start a coup d'état. They can burn the city down. They can replace just the administrator of the city. So they're now in charge of the city, but nobody else actually know any difference. Okay, so the payload can do one of the many different things that it can do. Trojan simply refers to the fact that it is pretending to be a gift. It's pretending to be something that you want to open, you want to bring into the system. Okay, so it's a delivery mechanism.
You said you can open up an email and not open up the PPT.
Correct.
Opening up the email, it lets the programmer know that the IP is active. So it sends a ping or a message or something back to the.
Because when you open an image, the image can potentially, when the image has to open, it has to go back to the source. And that particular action will disclose your IP address. Okay, I think you had your hand first, and then I'll answer your question.
No.
Yep.
So what you were saying with the image thing, you pretty much answered my question. With
Oh,
the-
okay.
With the image thing is that when the computer requests the image, it takes the IP off of the image request or something like that.
Okay, let's say you're checking your email by Gmail or whatever email client you want to use. Okay, so in Gmail, when you receive an email from, let's say, Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amazon likes to send you images of products and stuff like that, right? So with Gmail, I think by default it does not display the image until you click that little button that says show images in the email. If you click that button, then your computer running the browser will try to bring in the image, right? The image is stored on a server owned by Amazon. The process to connect to the Amazon server to download the image so it can display on your screen will disclose the IP address of your computer.
My real question was, there are programs like Outlook
Mm-hmm.
where you can run through your emails on an application on your computer.
Yep.
But they're also like Gmail and Yahoo and AOL where it's run through a browser. Is the damage a virus or something could do different between going to a browser versus an application?
If you go through a browser, you have slightly more protection compared to going through a dedicated email client, but not a whole lot more. Okay? Yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I used to work for the computer teacher at my old high school, do the Trojans I'd see every so often with teachers' computers where one would look like say there was a bunch of viruses on their computer, and it looked just like their operating system, and so then they click on it, and that'd be
That's a Trojan.
Yeah, and the other would be look like an Adobe Flash update, because it looked exactly like Adobe Flash, but if you click on it, it's Trojan.
Yep. And go ahead.
If you click on something on an email and it's you have a scan, like a virus scan, or is it possible for something to tell you if it's a Trojan?
If you install an antivirus or anti-malware program on your computer, it can potentially catch that. When you try to open up an attachment, it can scan the attachment first for any known viruses. And if it does contain any known virus, it will basically it won't let the virus do its thing.